I'm live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Another good Monday evening to all of y'all. Welcome to episode 69 of Cliff Notes Live. Yeah, it's hard to believe. I've done 69 episodes out here on YouTube Live, and before that, I was doing over on TV Co. So, you know, I've been with y'all friends for a long time, and I certainly do appreciate each and every week. What a great way to start a Monday. So thank you all who are out here watching. So with that in mind, let me start off as I always do with the big old SKD 143. I love my wife, love my kids, love the reality fans out there, and especially have a special spot in my heart for you guys watching live and those of you who watch it on replay later. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I just love sitting there shooting the bull with y'all on Monday night. So we got a lot of bull to be shooting and talking about this evening. There's a lot of I didn't expect it until, I don't know, like last night, started hearing some of these stories and had lots of different things to talk about. So I hope y'all are doing well. Before I get going, let me just check in. While people are still straggling in on, let me see who else out here. Amanda Lowe, love this pick. Yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit. What an interesting Sunday night. Michelle Tuller as well. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Marilyn Sutherland, Anthony Stack. Anthony, let me just spend a special second or two and tell you thank you so much for some of your analysis. For all of your analysis. For all those of you who may not know, I do a survivor analysis every recap of the episode, talk a little bit, thoughts, opinions, things like that. Try to put it out there late Wednesday night. Sometimes it's Thursday morning, but after the Survivor show every Wednesday night. And Anthony comes out there and gives me some very detailed analysis, and you're spot on your stuff. So Anthony, thank you so much. I learn a lot every time I read some of your comments on Survivor, so I appreciate that. So Anthony's out here as well. Howdy, howdy. Kiki as well. Michelle Moore, Brian Hostler. Hey, Brian, how are you? Rich Cat Ranch, Mark Taylor, Noah Lemon, and Fred Benson. And I know there's some of y'all who aren't watching live, be watching it later as well. Thanks to all of y'all. I absolutely do appreciate it. Noah saying, I hope you're having a great start to your week. Well, it always starts pretty good when I get to do this. No one likes Monday. Whether you're in school, whether you're going back to work, you got to take care of all the stuff that was left over from the week before and all that stuff. Yeah, I took care of all my work stuff and then got to come in and do this in the evening. So yeah, I'm doing pretty well. All right, Terry Thomas says hello, Cindy Howard. I miss you as well. Hey, Cindy, I see you out there now. I appreciate all of y'all. And Parker Odell as well. I'm glad you had time to drop in. Okay, a couple of things as we still wait for a few other people. And yeah, we're going to talk reality TV. We're going to talk Academy Awards. What can we talk about the Academy Awards? Funny how it suddenly became relevant, right? I got a question for y'all. I want to ask about that when we get going. But before I do that, let's talk about today in history. Today, as far as national celebrations and all that. Did y'all know that today is National Something on a Stick Day? Who do you think came up with that? I don't know. The corn dog manufacturers of the world? I don't know. But welcome to National Something on a Stick Day. Thinking about it, trying to figure out what are my favorite somethings on a stick. And I got to say, from the time I was a very small, wee little lad, corn dogs, or as I call them, corny dogs. I don't know, y'all call them corn dogs or corny. Call them corny dogs. I love me some corny dogs. I talked about going to the rodeo last week. The State Fair of Texas up in Dallas has foot-long corn dogs that are so good. It's fantastic. So, yeah, I think I may celebrate I don't think I have any corn dogs, but I do have some pancake sausages on a stick. So I have a little breakfast deal. When I drive back and forth to work and all that, yeah, it's easy. Have something on a stick, sit there and eat away while you're driving to work. So, yeah, I may celebrate a little bit. So happy National Something on a Stick Day. And you can't forget sausage on a stick too, right? There's all kinds of choices. And I guess you can throw cotton candy in there as well. Nothing wrong with that. But we got that. The other day we got going on today, special spot in my heart, National Weed Appreciation Day. And as I say that, I think I need to throw out a little qualifier. We aren't talking about the stuff that you maybe light up when you got a little time right. No. They're talking straight up weeds that grow in your yard that drive you bonkers, that you try to kill and all. Well, I guess it's a Weed Appreciation Day. Appreciate even the ones that the plants that no one likes, that thinks they're pests, and they're always trying to kill them on all that. Yeah, there's some good things about them as well. Not so much for me. It's nice down here in Houston. We had the daylight savings change, whatever. I know it doesn't have any effect, but it suddenly makes it seem like it's warmer and more summertime down here. Again, I know it doesn't make any difference, but it is that time of year. So I've been out trying to get my loofah garden all set up. I'm going to grow loofahs again this year. So turning over dirt and picking all the weeds out and everything. So yeah, y'all appreciate the weeds. I think I'm going to leave that particular holiday, leave that holiday alone for right now. And then one more this day in history. And then we'll talk about what y'all are actually wanting to talk about, I'm sure. On this day in 1979, up in Pennsylvania, I think it's Pennsylvania, 3 Mile Island, the nuclear meltdown that turned out not to be, it didn't hurt anyone, unless you're the person that had to go in and mop it all up with the mop, I guess. But no, they had the 3 Mile Island, the nuclear accident. It could have been a whole lot worse. Fortunately, we had a lot of stuff backups and protections and all of that. But it still was a major deal. I remember I was 14, 15 years old when it happened. We heard that. Here's a little inside scoop for y'all. I was trying to decide what kind of engineer I wanted to be. I was in high school at the time, getting ready to go to college. The Army came in, or the military, and said, hey, take this test. We'd love to have you in the military as well. And I thought about it. And one of the things I thought about doing was becoming a nuclear engineer. Because I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I mean, not everyone does that. And the Navy had said, oh, we'll pay for your whole college. We'll make you a nuclear engineer. But then I found out I'd probably be on a nuclear sub out at sea for 6 months at a time and all that. But as it turns out, 3 Mile Island happened. I started reading all these things in the story saying, yeah, we're not sure how well nuclear energy is going to work because everyone's a little scared because of this, and all that. The China syndrome came out on the movies and all that. So I said, yeah, I think I don't really like glowing with, I guess glowing skin's pretty good as long as it's not due to radiation, right? I said, yeah, I think I'll just leave it alone. So I became a petroleum engineer instead. So funny how one little instant happens and changes your whole life. Who knows? I may have been a nuclear engineer, may not have done Big Brother, may have done something completely different. And yeah, you never know. So there you go, guys. 3 Mile Island, 43 years ago. That's a long time ago. All right. Let's move on to some other things. Parker O'Dell, Texas heard the state fair. Yeah. State fair has incredible good things on a stick. All kinds of stuff. They've got, and the rodeo's the same way. They put pizza on a stick. They put anything you can think of. I'd probably put turkey legs on a stick. I can't tell. So we had that. All right, now, Mark, let's see. Mark Taylor, what's the backdrop? All right, let me get into that, and then we'll talk reality TV. Over the weekend, we had fun. Yeah, I told y'all my kids got married. We were so busy planning weddings, getting involved with all of that and everything. And so Sharon and I decided that we needed a little alone time, or a little just us time. And so we took advantage of that. Went down to Galveston Island, which is just 45 minutes or so from Houston, right up against the ocean. Being an island, it's normally up against the ocean. But I went to Galveston, had a fancy dinner, and then we went to what you see back here. That's the 1894 Opera House, Grand Opera House in Galveston, and we saw Lyle Lovett and his, I guess, acoustic band in concert. It was really cool. It's the second time I've seen Lyle Lovett. Y'all remember Lyle? He was bigger maybe back in the 90s, the early 2000s. Married to Julia Roberts for a few years. He's a storyteller. All his songs tell stories and stuff. Fellow Aggie. He went to Texas A&M a few years before I did, but he's an Aggie as well. And he sings Long Tall Texan, and he sings that's right, you're not from Texas. That's right, you're not from Texas. That's right, you're not from Texas. But Texas wants you anyway. He's got one like that. He had sang one song about how pants are overrated. He had to sing that or write that during the pandemic, right? I think a lot of people kind of gave up on pants for a few months while we were all sitting around locked in. So we saw Lyle Lovett, and we saw him in just this fantastic theater. It's down there. This was built 7 years before the huge hurricane came through and killed thousands and thousands of people in Galveston, pretty much destroyed the entire island. Well, this is one of the very few structures that survived. It flooded. They had to do a lot of work, but they got the structure all fixed up, and it's still there, and it's it's so cool. We sat somewhere right about there. It was a lot of fun. My daughter used to do dance recitals, and we'd come here once a year and watch her do recitals. And so it was, yeah, had a blast. So we did that Friday night. So that's a backdrop. Yeah, I wasn't at the Academy Awards. They didn't give me an award or anything else. This was just my own personal little theater experience on Friday night instead. And a lot less dramatic than we saw last night. So, all right. Paul Long, I'm Ma. My phone just did not work today. All right, well, Paul or Ma, either one. Well, welcome as well. I'm glad to see you here. All right, Anthony saying, what do you think about Todrick's statement that was released last week? Fill me in, Anthony. I missed that one. I know he's been doing his tour. I follow him on Instagram and all, but I don't remember. I remember he said something about some regrets he had while he's in the house. I haven't read the details. I just saw some kind of mention of that. And so give me the details, but based on the tiny little bit I know, you know what? People are on those shows, you say and do things that sometimes you regret. The fact that maybe it sounds like maybe he's had a chance to reflect on it a little bit and has expressed some regrets about that's what I want. That's what I want to hear. I've said many times on here, I don't take someone at their worst possible moment and try to judge their entire character by that. And maybe that's the situation as well. If he's coming in and tells me two things. One, tells me that he really got the backlash, which I knew he was going to face. But I'm curious to see how the tour is going and all that. But yeah, I'm glad to see that he's reflective. I hope that's what he said. If not, then forget everything I said. But no, I hope that he kind of looked back and said, yeah, that may not have been the best thing I could have said at that particular time. That would have been a little tough. All right. Elisha saying, everyone, and hey, Cliff, sorry I'm late. Well, welcome. That's all right. I told a few little random stories while waiting just for people like you, Elisha. So that's perfectly fine. Noah Lemon, sad about who got out on Survivor last week, and Mark Taylor saying, wasn't that a great ending to Survivor? Oh my gosh, guys, that was a yes, yeah. And I'm trying to decide from a spoiler standpoint. It's been almost a week. Hopefully, most of y'all have seen that. I can't promise I'm not going to say. I know I'm going to say a few things, but I'll try to keep it a little bit ambiguous. What an amazing episode! That is the episode. That's the kind of episode that I live for. That's what I watch. That's what I want to see when I watch Survivor. It's what I want to see when I watch Big Brother and other shows where you see people absolutely fighting tooth and nail to survive, giving it everything they've got. You see strategy. You see people doing everything possible. I loved it. We had the beginning where they had the competition and the water currents were. God, those water currents were tough. Before they even started the competition, people were having a hard time standing on the swim platforms, and then they jump into water. And can I just say, Jonathan? Is he maybe now? I know Jackson Mickey in my season of Big Brother was pretty dominant at the end. A lot of people don't remember that he didn't win that many competitions at the very beginning. He had hurt his foot. There were a lot of reasons to think that maybe he wasn't, doing quite as much. And then at the end, he just turned it all on. But has there ever been anyone as dominant in a competition as we've seen so far with Jonathan? Man, he's picking up ladders. He's picking up other castaways. He's just throwing them onto the shore. That guy's a beast. There is zero chance that I would ever try to boot that guy while he was on my tribe and helping keep us away from tribal council. But the second I went to a merge and the tribes combined and you're playing for individual immunity, man, he's the first guy I'm going after. I think he is too strong to keep around, which is going to be interesting to see what happens. Because he's got to have a huge target on his back, right? But on the other hand, he may win a lot of individual immunities, and so people may want to kind of buddy up to him because of that. I don't know, but I am impressed with how he dominates the game. But it was amazing. They actually had to shut down the competition because the water was so bad, the currents were so bad. I'm curious to see how long that competition actually lasted. We watch his 5 minutes or so. They may have been in the water a long time before production said, these guys aren't ever going to grab their sandbags. I can't remember what they had to do now, but that part was amazing. Then we get to tribal council and anytime, and again, I'm trying not to say too much, but if you haven't watched it yet, you may want to plug your ears for a little bit. Anytime you get to the point of drawing rocks or the potential of drawing rocks, it just ramps everything up here. It's like playing a giant game of chicken and seeing if the other person blinks before you do. And that's what the biggest, going back to the original comment, yes, the person who went home, I hated it. I really thought they were going to do, I thought they had some talents that were going to really help them excel. I thought the social game was good. Yeah, it was disappointing to me. But I've also got to say that one person that was a bit of a game player, decision maker when it came down to that final negotiation for rocks and or all of that. You know, it's as I said, it's playing chicken. You don't start off playing the game of chicken by saying, I'm going to blink before you do. There's no way I'm going to not blink. Now you keep your position of power and everything else. When one person says, I don't want to draw rocks, there's not a chance in the world that let's just get it off the table right now. We're not drawing rocks. Well, then if I'm the other person, of course, I'm going to say, sorry, but I'm perfectly happy drawing rocks. I'm willing to take that chance. You give all the power to the other person when you make these declarations before you ever start playing or the start of the negotiations. I think that's what happened here, but it was still amazing. I loved it. I was just on the edge of my seat when I got done. It's one of those episodes when I got done, I said, oh my gosh, that was great. I loved it. I wish we got an extra 30 minutes out of it just to watch everything that must have taken place. And now the whole tribe dynamic has shifted a little bit. I feel like there's one person who kind of got thrown under the bus on that whole tribal council. One person who didn't play the game so well strategy-wise and may not be real tight. And then you got a couple of people that I feel like are really looking good at this point in time. I got to say, I'm really impressed. I'll throw this out there. Really impressed with High. I think he played that beautifully. From a strategy standpoint, he just bumps right up there in my rankings based on how he did at the tribal council. So yeah, I love the episode. It was so much fun. Deborah Danmeyer, 22 minutes in the water per the interview. Okay, wow. You know, you sit there and you think, 22 minutes, that's not that long. 22 minutes with those kind of currents coming in, and I have a feeling that water may not always be the warmest water in the world. Even being Fiji, you can't complain about water in Fiji, right? But yeah, 22 minutes is probably a long time when you're giving everything you got and you're not feeling like you're making progress. All right, that sounds about right. Did y'all see? I don't know how many of y'all follow Cody the Marine. Cody from Big Brother 19. I never can keep him. Of all people, I should keep him straight, right? But Cody does a little treasure hunt, search and find kind of thing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where he goes and hides bars of silver, bars of gold, and then puts out little clues, and people can buy his maps and then go find them. It's actually pretty cool. I like the idea of it. But he had one where he tried to hide a little bar of silver, I think, and the location he wanted to go to was some little island that's on some lake in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it's probably not but 100 yards distance, maybe 50 yards distance between where the shoreline was and this island. So he got out there, 48 degrees. He decided that he was just going to go ahead and walk across this little water area, hide this thing, even though it was freezing cold, and come back. Well, he set his phone up to film it, and we almost got to see quite the tragedy being recorded, because it turns out the water was deeper than he thought. He ended up having to swim instead of just walk across. He started developing hypothermia to the point that he was flailing his arms around, barely made it to the island, but he made it. And then he came to his senses, realized he couldn't swim back across. It was too cold. The current was too strong. So he sat on that island for 2 hours, waving his hands around, trying to get someone's attention, until finally fire and rescue showed up and he rescued him. And so his little story, he said, don't do like I did. I was an idiot. It was not the smartest thing in the world. He's right. You got to be careful with these water and currents and everything else. And so anyway, thinking about him as we talk about the water on the Survivor. So yeah, it was. I don't think we've ever seen. I think Jeff Probst said this is the first time they'd ever stopped a competition, right? I think I heard him say that. If they stop it out there, it's well deserved. I know there was a competition or two I was doing during Big Brother where I was thinking, man, I hope I finish this competition before I just keel over, passed out from exhaustion from trying to do this thing. I was worried about that when we did the BB comics, because first thing I see is this. I wasn't worried about the zip line. I've done zip lining before, and yeah, I got a little extra mass on me. I go down those zip lines pretty quick, so that's all right. And I wasn't worried about jumping at the end. No big deal. I was worried about having to go up a ladder every single time I did the zip line in that competition. But I was so pumped up with adrenaline. Turned out not to be an issue at all for the BB comics. The hard one was for me was the win it and you're in it. The very last veto competition, firing giant slingshots at giant targets and all. I was so exhausted. I've never been so tired. Pretty close. I've never been so tired in my life. I really thought I was about to fall over, and I thought, well, that'll be a dramatic moment if I just keel over in the middle of the competition, but won't do much for my chances of sticking around in the house. So it is what it is. But yeah, these competitions, we saw Beast Mode Cowboy. We've seen people in the past have to get medical evacs because it's so difficult, some of these challenges. And so yeah, we saw it. We saw it last Wednesday. I guess speaking of Beast Mode Cowboy, he had his brand new son. His wife had him, but he played a part as well. So congratulations to the whole Reynolds family. Caleb, Beast Mode, had his brand new son. I love watching all these other reality people that I've met at different venues and everything as they continue. They're getting married. Christy Murphy's getting married in Mexico here in another month. Caleb had a baby. It's cool stuff watching all these things happen with people that I know now. Anthony's saying, TV Talks with Tom said Todrick said everything he said in the house was game talk. He even seemed to crap on the live feeders. Well, all right. I'll take that with a grain of salt. I'm not sure I'm buying that completely, but I've never met Todrick, so I shouldn't be making too many assumptions, right? Everything in that house was game talk. I don't know. I'm not sure I buy that 100%, but hey, I do understand the idea that there is game talk, and then there's the outside world, and they are different. I mean, you're in there, even if it's not an active strategy. You're trying to relate to other people, and sometimes you have to go along and play a game and not always say or empathize or do what you'd like. But I don't know. I saw a lot of stuff in there that seemed like maybe elevated a little more than needed to be. But I will accept him as word. I'll take it with a grain of salt. And when I see him somewhere down the road, I'll congratulate him for getting as far as he did. You got to do that, right? Because we don't know what actually may be game talk or what wasn't. Marissa Machado, do you miss Big Brother? I missed my family while I was in the house. I miss Big Brother a lot less now than I miss my family while I was inside the house. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, it was fun because it was such an oddball experience from everything else I've done in my life. But I got to say, I mean, I thought I was going to do the show. And then when I got done, yeah, maybe I'd do a little meet and greet here and there. But eventually things would just kind of fade away and you move on with life and all that. Well, it's changed a little bit. And some of it's because I do this show and I do cameos. And when we were out with Lyle Lovett, I had some people that came up and recognized me. So, I had that happen at work on a teleconference today. I had someone say, "Oh, we were cheering for you, Cliff." And, "Oh, thank you." So it's always going to be a part of me. I don't want my tombstone 100 years from now, when someone's put my I don't want to say Big Brother player. I want it to say family man and everything else. So it's just a tiny part of my life. But yeah, it was an incredible experience, and I love talking about it. So yeah, in some ways I miss it, but I still get to talk about it with y'all. I still get to watch it on TV just like everyone else, and that's pretty cool too. And it's a whole lot less stress as well. So there's certainly advantages and disadvantages to playing the game versus just watching the game. All right, let's see what else do we have on here. Mandalo, are Bucky's Beaver Nuggets as good as everyone on social media says? Well, yeah, they're pretty good. They got a few different flavors now. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Bucky's is a huge, and I don't mean it as terms of thousands of locations. I mean, Bucky's has a couple of dozen locations across the state of Texas. I think they've moved over into Alabama and everything as well. But they're situated along the interstates. They're gigantic. They have 150 gas pumps. You walk in there, they've got a 50-foot long counter that has nothing but beef jerky. They sell barbecue. They sell and what she was talking about, beaver nuggets, which are the closest I can come to is Cracker Jacks, because it's kind of a popcorn with a bit of a caramel type coating on it, but they're a lot fresher than Cracker Jacks. So they're a little fluffier when you eat them, and combine the flavor of Cracker Jacks with kind of the crunchiness of a fluffy Cheeto or something. Yeah, that's the closest I can come, and that's kind of what you get with beaver nut. Yeah, pretty good. Talking about food on a stick, one of my go-tos when I go to Buc-ee's is either sausage on a stick or chopped beef barbecue burger, which normally, sometimes I get both, but man, those barbecues pretty good as well. And you gotta have a good barbecue in Texas if you're gonna be selling them, because we are connoisseurs down here. But yeah, Buc-ee's, I know Nick, when we were in the house, we talked a little bit about it, and he said there's one that y'all got up there, y'all guys that live in the Northeast. What is it, Wawa's, I think, or something? So I know there's a few different places that are like Buc-ee's, but if you ever come to Texas and someone says, hey, let's go to Buc-ee's, the gas station, you're gonna say, oh, why do I care about a gas station? Trust me, you want to go. There's a lot of fun stuff to see. Sauces, jellies, jalapeno jellies, habanero jellies, some cool stuff. All right, Mark saying, what do you think of floaters on Celebrity Big Brother? Hold on a second. Let me go back and look at that. I was trying to do this by memory. What do you think of floaters on Celebrity Big Brother's been a while. Floaters on Canada. Will they ever make a move? You know what? I'm enjoying Big Brother Canada so far. It's tough to say because the floaters in the house have been perfectly fine, because you got people that are just kind of overplaying the game, right? I mean, it's the best way I can put it. I think I mentioned last week, Kyle, HOH, the world is your oyster, right? But you've always got to be careful when you're HOH, what kind of enemies are you going to create and everything. I remember when I was HOH, man, I got so much grief when I got out of the house about, oh, why didn't you just go ahead and lie to Christy and put her up anyway and do this and that? And trust me, I've looked in my mind or gone back and said, oh, how cool it would have been from a TV standpoint to say, yeah, Christy, I'm putting you up anyway. Sorry about that. I guess I forgot about our deal. Yeah, you're on the block, and sent her home, flushed out her power knot. As a viewer, fantastic. As a person playing the game, not so much. I would have had the biggest target on my back. And I was just trying to do what I could do to survive another couple of weeks, because I knew a couple of extra weeks would potentially make the difference in whether I was around to watch the big alliance blow up or not. As it turns out, that was exactly the case. But yeah, so you see Kyle just kind of overplaying the game to the point that now he's got all kinds of enemies. His own alliance people are all mad at him. So a very, very difficult HOH. And then he comes back, and now there's such a target on his back. And so I don't know. How many people have we lost in Big Brother Canada? 4? I think we're down to 12. I think 12. Yeah, well, we've lost 4 people. So we haven't really had a chance to see how the floaters do, if they ever declare an alliance, if they ever make a move. Think about my season of Big Brother. When we lost 4 people, I was the 4th person out, right? And then we had the battle back, so I actually came back. So I guess Bella was actually the 4th person. We were down to 12 after that. That is so early in the game. There's a lot of gameplay left to be played. The floaters in there, why make waves at this point in time? Just let the other people fight the battles and do what they want. And then you sneak in at the end and be part of an alliance and make things happen. But yeah, I've enjoyed Canada Big Brother. I gotta say, from a cheering standpoint, there's no one in that house that I dislike, but I maybe Herman and Marty and Kevin. I didn't intend for it to be 3 guys, but those 3 I kind of am cheering for, just because Herman's fun to watch. And Marty I relate to, just age and all that, even though he speaks a little more French than I do. And then Kevin, just because I feel like he's a train wreck waiting to happen, but I have fun watching it. He's playing an interesting game. So yeah, I'm having fun with that. Marilyn Sutherland saying, been watching older seasons on Paramount. Love their house. they do a heck of a job. And it's funny because I've seen some people give some commentary saying, does the design of the house lead to more alliance and strategy talk or less, based on, because it seems like that Big Brother house up there in Canada, there's a lot more room for people to talk and to talk privately and everything else. Whereas I feel like our house there in Burbank, everyone's just on top of each other. I mean, take it from me, it's hard to have a conversation that you don't have the risk of being eavesdropped on. I kind of know about that. But I just feel like there's not as many places in our house that are as isolated as maybe you have in the Big Brother Canada house. And so I think that maybe does change up the strategy a little bit and everything else. But yeah, I've always loved the sets, the house themes and everything, the Big Brother Canada. Now, I will say some of those sets seem very stark. That's not the right word. Very cold, sterile. Yeah, lots of tiles and blacks and everything and neons, and it wouldn't be the most relaxing place to live for 90 something days. I love my house for my season. Some people liked it, some didn't, but that outdoor camp feel and the muted colors and the woodwork and the wood everywhere, I felt at home. Maybe other people didn't, but I love my house just in terms of letting me not feel too stressed out. Some of the houses, USA and especially Canada, just look so slick that I feel like my blood pressure would go up 10 points just from having to be in that house all the time. And they're in Canada. And I know they got one little outdoor area. I watch it where the hot tub and stuff is. I watched them having a conversation at one point last week, and there's snow everywhere. It's coming down, and like, God, it's tough. It versus I was in LA where it was hot the whole time we were there. So a little bit different environment, but yeah, I've been enjoying Canadian Big Brother. It's been a lot of fun so far. I have not been watching the live feeds as much as I thought I would. There's just not enough time to really watch it, but I'm watching all the episodes and having a blast with all of that. Brian Hostler, I like Tim from Big Brother Canada 4. Gummy, the strategy is hot to determine who went up. To pick the, let me find it. So, I haven't seen season 4 yet. I haven't gone back. I need to. I've said that before, and I'll do it again. But I haven't seen season 4 just yet. So let's see what else we got here. Let me see what else. All right. While I'm thinking, I can't forgive it. We talked about Survivor. We talked about Big Brother Canada. Another reality show. I gotta get y'all's opinion on it. This is why I wanted to make sure I brought it up tonight. How many of y'all out there have seen X on the Beach? And I'm not just randomly asking. I've never seen it. I've heard about it. I know Elaine Davies and Mark Jansen from Big Brother were out there before, and also I'm familiar with the show. I'm just not familiar with the rules or anything else. How many of y'all have watched X on the Beach? And is it worth watching? Is yet another reality TV show that I should put on the schedule? And Brian saying each house guest had 5 gummy bears. All right. See, I was kind of leaving that part out because I wasn't real sure about that strategy because I hadn't seen that part. So thank you, Brian. Here's the thing, and I missed part of it as I went through the comments. Do y'all remember the very first season of Survivor? I can't remember his name. I think he was the doctor. And he ended up at the very end choosing who to vote for. I think he said pick a number. And someone just picked a number, and that's supposedly how he based his vote. I don't ever want, whether I get evicted or not, whether I get awarded money at the end, I don't want anyone to ever make a decision based on random anything, including gummy bears and colors and everything else. I want people to either reward or penalize me based strictly on how I did. I'll always remember that first season thinking, I would just read you the riot act if I found out I lost because I didn't pick the right number. It's not the spirit of the game, right? But no, Brian, I'm going to go back and watch season 4 so I can check out the strategy because I don't know yet. Anyway, getting back to X on the Beach, it's not just some random show that I threw out there. The reason I ask about that is because someone I know and love is on X on the Beach. Kat Dunn from Big Brother 21 is going to be has been on X on the Beach. I don't know what the results are yet. She told me a long time ago that she was going on that show. And I said, Kat, are you really going on there? Or are you just pulling my leg? No, I'm going on there. And I said, all right, well, have fun, but play it cool and all that. And then I just kind of forgot about it. I've never asked her what the results are because I don't want to ask her to reveal anything that she's not supposed to. I'd rather just watch it and have fun watching it. But X on the Beach has Kat on it, also has Davon on it from Big Brother, and it has from Big Brother Canada Jamar and Min Lee from 2 seasons ago. I'm glad to see it. I hated now Jamar had already got sent home. I think Min Lee had already got sent home too before COVID shut down the rest of that season. But they were interesting. They were fun to watch on there. Jamar, I always liked Jamar because he spent a lot of time talking to the cameras. I felt like he and I kind of had a similar relationship with the cameras sometimes. I remember him talking to the cameras a lot. But Jamar's on there, Min Lee's on there, Kat's on there, and Davon. So there's some Big Brother alumni on X on the Beach, and in particular, Kat. So I'm gonna watch it, and we'll see. I've had some people say, yeah, that's pretty trashy kind of TV. Well, that's what it's all about, right? So yeah, I'm gonna watch it so I can just find Kat and give her either a hard time or congratulate her or say, what are you doing hanging out with that knucklehead? Why in the world would you think that was your best decision, Kat? I'll give her a hard time about it. But that comes on. They conspired against Kat. Yeah, Cindy, there was a lot of that talk when we were in the house. It comes on Thursday, March 31st on MTV. So I'm gonna have to set it up. I'm gonna have to watch it, and just what I need. One more reality show, right? Cindy, it was funny to talk about Kat and conspiring and everything else. When she was first in that house, that first week or so, she was so, and that was before the feeds came on. So I know y'all didn't see some of it. She was so just emotional about everything. When she eventually got put on the block next to me, she was nervous. She couldn't just sit back and play the game. She was so worried and stressed out about the fact that she maybe was going to go home so early. And so when she first talked about walking in and saying, are y'all conspiring against me and all that, at first it was serious. It wasn't a punchline. It wasn't a joke. It was her actually worrying that people were talking about her whenever she wasn't in a room. And I remember at one point thinking, we got to get her out of here. She is not meant for Big Brother. There is no way this isn't working for her. She's going to drive us. She's driving everyone in the house crazy because she was just continually asking, what are y'all talking about? What are you talking about? And then it suddenly just dawned on her. The light bulb moment went off in her brain. And I think maybe she just said, whatever. If I go home, I go home. And she turned the whole thing into a joke about, are y'all conspiring against me? She started saying it just as a fun thing to say. Once we saw that she was relaxed when she said it and was just using as a joke, then we laughed along. And then suddenly everything changed. That first week or two was rough, but then all of a sudden she found her little niche, right? And sometimes that's all it takes. So she came close to going home that first week. So did I. That was a stressful first week. I remember her and I sitting there saying, what do they have against Texans? The 2 Texans are the 2 people on the block the first week. Come on, guys. You know what? Jersey folks, y'all need to figure this thing out. But we both survived. We survived for a while. I hated that she had to go home versus me instead of some random person. It is what it is. But yeah, so Kat's going to be on X on the Beach. I'm pretty excited about watching that. Fred Benson saying, best Cliff Hogg and Cliff Notes, best way to enjoy Monday night. Well, thank you. My best way to enjoy Monday night, sitting out here talking to you guys and just kind of rambling on. And my wife's probably saying, thank you guys for letting Cliff talk to y'all instead of rambling on with me all night long as well. All right, let's talk. I kind of feel like I buried the lead based on my YouTube and everything else. Little teaser. The Academy Awards. Did y'all watch those last night? Nah, I didn't either. I used to watch the Academy Awards all the time. And then finally got to the point where it's like, I haven't seen enough of the shows. I guess I'm not hotty-toddy enough to watch some of the artistic shows and stuff because there were too many shows I hadn't watched. And then there were people making political statements and everything. And as y'all will recognize, I try to avoid the politics when I do this show. Well, I was inside the Big Brother house. I said, "There's no way I'm going to talk politics. That's dangerous. You're going to make half the people upset no matter what." So I've always tried to avoid. Plus, why do you care the political opinions of some person that was on a reality TV show, right? Yeah, there's better ways to get your information. So I always felt like, what's that commercial? Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane. I always felt the politics wasn't really in my lane for here, and I kind of felt that way with the Academy Awards. And I go to movies to watch you act, not give that. So I kind of tailed off watching the Academy Awards, and mainly because I just hadn't seen so many of the films. So I missed it last night, but Lord knows I started seeing stuff popping up on Twitter and the news and everything else. Will Smith and Chris Rock. What do y'all think? All right, here's the first question for y'all. I'm gonna watch the comments and see what y'all think. Do y'all think it really happened, or do you think it was staged? The whole thing just a setup, just because no one watches the Academy Awards anymore, or do you think that Will Smith really was upset and really did slap? For those of you, I'm thinking all of y'all know what I'm talking about, but if you haven't, Chris Rock was up there telling jokes, and he told a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, called her G.I. Jane 2. She's wearing a green dress. She's got a buzz hairstyle because she's got alopecia, hair loss, and she's been pretty vocal about it. That's something she's had to deal with and kind of suffer through and all that. So he told a joke about it. Next thing you know, Will Smith's up there walking towards Chris Rock. I did notice Chris Rock had his hands behind his back. I don't know if what he was expecting or not, but Will Smith gets up there, pops him with a bit of a slap to the head, walks right back, throws out some salty language and says, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," and all that. And I guess they cut to commercial after that. Incredible, right? If it wasn't staged, one of the most amazing moments of Academy Awards, I guess. And I say if it wasn't staged because some of you may not know, but back in the 70s, they had a streaker run across the stage. I think it was David Niven, maybe. Someone was given an award, and the streaker ran out and ran naked around the stage, as streakers are wont to do. And David Niven, when he got done, said something about, "Oh, it's so amazing that the only laugh this guy's ever going to get is when he comes up on stage and shows everyone his shortcomings." Yeah. Well, then it turns out later it was all staged. It was just something to get people talking about the Academy Awards. If that's what this is, and it was all staged, I'm going to be upset. I think there'll be a lot of people upset, feeling like they got kind of played by all of this, if we ever find out. But when I first heard it, that's what I thought. I was, this is staged. There's something going on here. But then I watched the after shows and reactions and the way people have talked. If it wasn't staged, or if it was staged, then maybe there's some more Academy Awards need to be given out. They are actors after all, right? But I'm starting, the more I've watched, the more I'm thinking, well, maybe not so much, because it seems like a lot of people dealing with a lot of stuff that if it was all staged, you would think would not be. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. That's why I want to get y'all's opinion. Terry's saying it was real. Michelle's saying it was a full-on slap. Kiki saying, I think he overreacted. Yeah, we'll talk about that, I think, too. Who else do I have on here? Anthony real, Lindsay staged, Paul staged, Michelle staged, Terry real. All right, so we're somewhere around 50-50 with y'all guys as well, right? I don't know. I think we're going to find out one way or the other. Paul saying, I loved your thumbnail. Wasn't really on the internet while I was on a college visit. Oh, well, congratulations on a college visit. That's pretty cool. Came home overwhelmed by the news. Yeah, it blew up all of a sudden. I started looking at the news, and it was everywhere. What did Chris Rock find on his face this morning? Fresh Prince. All right, the jokes just create themselves, right? Yeah, it's yeah. I saw one. 9,900 people in the room that won't slap you, but one will. Dum-dum. Actually, like yours better, Brian. But yeah, there are a few jokes here and there going around, and lots of old, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I got in one little fight, and now I'm off to Bel-Air and all that. I don't know. I don't like it, and here's why I don't like it: because Chris Rock is one of my favorite comedians. I just laugh. He just tells funny. He's just funny. And Will Smith is one of my favorite actors because I feel like he's always been very sincere in the past. When he was doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, He signed a contract, a multi-year contract, and he could have done like a whole lot of other people did and said, oh, the show's blown up. I want to renegotiate my contract. You got to pay me a whole lot more money. You got to pay me $1 million an episode. I'm going to do like Friends did or something. He didn't do that. I remember Will Smith saying, no, I signed a contract. I'm going to stick to it. I'm a man of my word. From that point on, I thought, all right, this guy, there's something about him. So I've always been a big fan of Will Smith. So to see these two go at it, these aren't the people I want to see getting in this kind of tussle. Who's to fault? Who's to blame? Well, Will Smith's to blame. Here's the thing. I think that Chris Rock probably is a little bit of a low blow to make fun of someone's medical condition, right? Jokes are jokes, and yeah, we've seen Ricky Gervais and other people that are pretty brutal with the jokes they tell. But when you do it about something that's kind of a medical situation, I feel like that's a little bit of a low blow, but that does not justify anyone getting up and coming swinging and throwing punches or slaps or anything else. I think he probably could have just get up and walk out. I think that would have been quite the statement right then and there. So now I think the joke was a little lowbrow, probably not the best thing that Chris Rock's ever done, but that was still a complete overreaction. As I can't remember who said that here, but I agree. I think it was an overreaction. I sure hope, and I've said this before a lot about reality TV. Don't take, and we talked a little bit with Todrick on. I hope people don't look at someone's worst moment that just happens to be on TV as a reality show and makes a lot of judgments about the person's character based on just that short period of time where you get to kind of zoom in and watch that person, how they respond. I feel the same way like Will Smith. I hope this was just an isolated, whatever's going on, that he was defending his wife, he overreacted, he didn't do what he should have done, but I hope that doesn't represent who he is, and it was just that one blip on the chart that doesn't represent him. Yeah, y'all know what I mean, right? I hope, because I want to continue watching the guy and cheering him on and respecting him, all that. And that wasn't his shining moment. And poor old Will Smith, for the rest of his life, he's going to have to be dealing with it. People talking about that. His entire career, and this is probably what people are going to talk about 30, 40, 50 years from now, right? I mean, this is him. Forget everything he's done. Y'all remember that guy that got up and slapped the comedian at the Academy Awards way back when they used to do it on TV before the virtual reality and the holograms and everything that we do now? Yeah, back in the old days. That's what they're going to talk about. So, yeah, crazy, incredible. As I said, when I first watched, I thought the whole thing's staged, and then I watched it afterwards and people talking to him, and Denzel Washington, Bradley Cooper trying to calm Will Smith down, and I didn't watch the Academy Awards, and I still not really interested in watching it, but I may have watched that a little bit if I'd known it was gonna be on. There are one or two movies that I actually have seen, so that was nice. I love West Side Story, and I know it was up for Best Picture and all that. Don't Look Up was up for nomination as well. I like that too. If y'all watched Don't Look Up, that was a pretty fun little movie. The rest of them probably amazing movies. I just haven't watched them yet. I was too busy watching Big Brother and X on the Beach and all this other quality TV programming that occupies my days, right? Brittany's saying definitely staged, because if it was real, it's a legit assault, so Will would have gotten in trouble ASAP. Yeah, I know. Well, the police came out and said that if the person who was assaulted, they acting as though we don't know who all these people are, but I guess that's the way they do it, said if the person who was assaulted or slapped wants to file charges, then we'll deal with it. Otherwise, we can't do anything. If it was anyone other than a guy that was up for the Academy Award or someone of similar celebrity status, do you think if I'd shown up to the Academy Awards and went up and start slapping away at anyone, heck, just walk up on stage, they're booting me out the door. But I don't know. Now, here's something interesting to think about. Will Smith now has this little blot, dark spot on his resume that he's going to have to do some PR work to get back up in the good graces of people and convince people that this was just a bad moment in life. Maybe Celebrity Big Brother 4? Yeah, y'all want to see Will Smith in the Big Brother house, and maybe have, I don't know, Will Catan or someone in there make some little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith just to see how Will Smith responds. That'd be kind of interesting, right? See how that works out. I'm going to start the campaign right now. Will Smith for Celebrity Big Brother. Let's see if we can go anywhere. Because you talk about being stressed out. You talk about being. I know he was up for an Academy Award. Probably sitting there thinking, "Oh gosh, I got to remember my speech." And now here's this bozo making fun of my wife, and I've got to stand up and defend her honor. I know it had to be stressful. I'm still saying that being in the Big Brother house can be much more stressful than anything he was going through last night. I absolutely believe. I remember when I was in the house, talking about slapping and all that stuff. I remember sitting up in that upstairs HOH with Jackson Mickey saying, if you send me home, I'm going to poison the jury. I'm going to make sure you don't win $500,000 and you'll be sorry because I'm going to make sure it goes to Holly instead. And I truly, absolutely thought that there was a percentage chance that he was going to punch me when I did that. I didn't go in saying he's going to, but I certainly was sitting there thinking, what if he does? How am I going to handle it? And do I want to egg him on a little bit more and all that? And there was a part of me thinking, all right, if he throws a punch, I'm not going to defend myself. I'm going to be just like a soccer player. I'm going to take a fall, or a basketball player. I'll take the fall. I'll flop or whatever. And maybe they'll send him out the door and I get to stick around a little bit longer. That wasn't my master game plan. My master game plan was just to try to convince him that he needed to keep me. But I was aware that there were times in that house where, people stressed out, and people sometimes, there's a lot of stuff riding on the line. And there's one thing about goading people along as part of gameplay, but you do have to be a little careful. There have been times in that Big Brother house where people, got a little too close to one another, right? A little too upset with each other. We saw it with Josh and Mark. We saw it with the Hans brother back, or cousin, nephew, whatever, back a few seasons before that. So it's happened before. I was thinking about that, but yeah, I'm amazed at Chris Rock. If it was not staged, if it was all real and absolutely unplanned and all that, Chris Rock was pretty good about not responding with a whole lot more than he did, because I sure would have been tempted to lay down a few choice words of my own. I'm waiting for now. Isn't this a perfect opportunity for Chris Rock to come out with the Will Smith roast? Hey, he'll never do it, but have him just come out and say, Marine saying this is the most publicity Chris Rock has had in a long time. I agree. And is he going to milk it? I mean, not in a bad way. Maybe it's a bad way, but I can easily see him doing some kind of HBO comedy special or something, spending an extra 10, 15 minutes just doing everything he can to rag on Will Smith and or rag about this moment and talk about it. Yeah, his 15 minutes of fame's been extended quite a bit longer. Chris Rock's been famous for a lot more than 15 minutes. He's I've seen that everybody hates Chris, signs over the picture of the slap and everything else. How would you like to be the photographer? When he took that picture, well, first, unless he was in on it, if it was staged. But other than that, if you're just a photographer saying, God, another boring Academy Awards, how many goofy people can I take pictures of on the red carpet and weird costumes and all of that? And he gets inside and suddenly he sees what's going on and gets that perfect shot. Just after the slap, Chris Rock's face turned to the side, and he had to immediately say, this is gold. This is to make me, right? And now I go out to Instagram before the show when I'm getting ready for it. Every other post out there is some kind of meme or something with that particular photo. I hope that guy's getting a little bit of royalty on it, because if so, he's wealthy right off the bat. He's up to Will Smith kind of money based on one photo he took. Who would have thunk it, right? Here's what I was doing. I wasn't watching the Academy Awards. I was watching a soccer game instead. The U.S. was playing Panama World Cup qualifying. They won 5-1. They aren't in yet, but they're real close. They have to get beat like 6-0 next Wednesday, or else they're in. Canada's already in, so guys, those of you who are up there north of the border, congratulations, you're going to the World Cup. U.S. is getting ready to go, and I had so much fun watching that game. But I didn't know that there was even more fireworks going on ABC. I guess that's who shows it. I don't even know anymore. But over on the Academy Awards, you wouldn't have expected that, right? Y'all have heard, right? My connection to the Academy Awards is my grandfather was a stuntman for the very first movie that ever won the Academy Award for Best Picture, Wings. 1929, I think, was when it won the Academy Award, based on World War One. My granddad was a barnstormer, flew the airplanes and everything else, and so yeah. So the very first Academy Award film ever starred a relative old boss hog here, and haven't been back since. But I thought I'd throw that out there just for grin. Wow, it's 7:57 already, guys. Oh, this goes fast. It goes so fast. All right, let me do one or two more. Paul, aka Ma. That takes some getting used to as well. Random, but are you planning on having any guests on your show in the near future? Yeah, I need to. I've seen other people doing it, and I'll be real honest with you. The reason I haven't in the past is because I wasn't real sure the software and the internet and how to get people all on there. I know I did one show with Russell Hance, and our connections were wonky, and it was difficult to do. I was on his show, and I've done other people's shows as well. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I've had my kids on here, and I had blast. I need to bring them back. I had Nicole on here as well. Here's what I'm thinking about doing, and y'all let me know if you'd be interested or not. My brother Bowie, who was on the very first season of The Apprentice way back in 2001, I guess. So the very start of reality TV. I may try to get him on here and maybe talk about my reality TV experience versus what it was like to be on reality TV 20-something years ago and hanging around with Donald Trump and all of that. Because I know he's got some stories. The way that show was supposed to be done didn't actually happen that way. There were some little gimmicks and props and twists that apparently never got shown. So I will get Bowie to tell some of that. So yeah, I may drag Bowie on here. And beyond that, I've always thought about trying to get Big Brother guests when they come, when they're expelled from the house, evicted, and things like that. But they're so busy doing other people's shows, and so I don't know. Well, y'all let me know who y'all want me to maybe bring on, and I'll look into it and see. I'm not objecting to it. I'd be happy to bring some other folks on. So yeah, we'll think about it. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Paul said I'd love to have Bowie on. Yeah, okay, maybe we'll do it. I got to talk to Bowie and see if he's got some time and wants to come hang out with me and listen to me talk for an hour. But yeah, maybe we'll do that. All right, guys, it's 7:59. Appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go out and subscribe. Go out and like if you would, please. If you enjoyed it, hopefully you did. Go out and like, go out and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you get whenever I drop Survivor, Big Brother, anything else. You'll get notifications. It's out there. And so beyond that, guys, y'all have a fantastic week. Be careful April 1st. It's right around the corner. Don't let anyone play pranks on you, and be the prankster, not the pranky. But y'all have a fantastic week. I'll be back Monday. Who knows? We'll talk about X on the Beach maybe a little bit, Big Brother, Survivor, all the reality TV shows that we know and love. Guys, have a great one. SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all. Y'all have a fantastic week. Stay safe. Give everyone hugs. Cheers, my friends. Bye. All right, there we go.